Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, Small Conversations with Huge Impact. My name is Alec Cuenca and I'm your host. And before anything else, I would like to greet each and every one of you. Welcome back to the show. If this is your first time, then I hope that you go check out the other amazing episodes. And if this is your end time, if you're an avid listener of the podcast, then welcome back. I am so happy that you're here. I'm so happy to see you here because it just proves that you are still invested in improving yourself day by day. So I'm really happy that you're here. I am really happy that you're here. And today, we are going to talk about imposter syndrome. This is probably one of the most common problems that a lot of people have, lalo na yung mga taong nagsisimula pa lang, especially yung mga taong nagsisimula pa lang. They have this thing called the imposter syndrome. And what is the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome is basically you feeling that you are not enough in whatever you're trying to do. You're feeling that you're fake. You're thinking that people are going to find out that you're not qualified enough to do the things that you are set out to do, that you said you would do. Imposter syndrome is basically you feeling, what if other people find out that you're a fraud? So, backstory, I was also feeling that way when I was starting. I had this imposter syndrome when I was starting my own podcast. When I looked into the podcast, I only saw Joy Spring there. Like Joy Spring already had a following back before. And so me thinking a newbie, with no connections, with no experience or anything, what if, I try to talk about motivation and inspiration and people would find out that I'm not that good. It's that constant feeling that people will think I'm a fraud. But it turns out imposter syndrome is normal. And probably one of the most common misconceptions about imposter syndrome is that only you experience it. Only the people who are starting is experiencing it. One thing that I've learned is even the best people, the people who are already successful, they still also experience imposter syndrome. They just know how to deal with it better. That's why in this episode, we are going to talk about how you can deal with imposter syndrome. And let's start off with number one. The first way to deal with imposter syndrome is to stop comparing yourself to others. We constantly compare ourselves to other people, especially when we're scrolling through social media. But the thing about social media is that the things that we see, they're just highlights of the things that are happening on someone's life. Hindi siya yung buong picture. You would not see the failures. Nobody wants to post their struggles. Nobody wants to post their challenges and their failures. So it becomes a place where just all the positives and the success and the results are being showcased. But life doesn't happen that way. There's always the starting points, the ugly points, the parts where you're trying to figure out what you want to do, the parts where it gets so ugly that you don't even want to talk about it. You don't even want to think about it. Every single person who has seen success has experienced imposter syndrome. And mainly they would feel that way because they would look at the social media, they would look at other people's lives, and they would see now, wow, they're doing so much better. And why am I not doing better? So, and also, if like you're looking at your work. For example, you just started your podcast and you would see another podcaster who's doing really great. I think I should stop making podcasts right now because that person is so good. We constantly compare ourselves to other people. And that leads us to feeling that we're not enough, that we're not capable, that we're not qualified enough to do the things that we were set out to do. So that's the first one. We need to stop comparing ourselves to other people. And in doing so, we can realize that it's okay. It's okay if you think that you are starting and you will make mistakes and you will learn from it. Because everybody starts with that. Every first step of anyone's growth begins with that kind of feeling. So the second way that you could deal with imposter syndrome is do not let perfection get in the way of progress. Let me say that again. Do not let perfection get in the way of progress. The reason why we're feeling that we have, the reason why we feel like an imposter is that we see the great things that are already polished, they're already perfect. And so we are trying to be perfect first before we could actually do the thing that we were set out to do, whether it's helping people, whether it's doing your job, or just doing more than you are capable or you are used to doing. When we are tasked and nagkaroon tayo ng responsibility na kailangan taasan pa natin yung mga gagawin natin, we would feel na di natin kaya yan kasi di pa natin nagagawa. But let me tell you something. Growth happens when you start doing the things that you're uncomfortable doing. Growth happens when you start doing the things that you are not qualified to do. Growth happens when you start doing the things that you are uncomfortable doing. Growth happens when you start doing the things that people say you're not qualified to do. Otherwise, you would just stay in where you are, stay in your comfort zone, or you would look for perfection before you'd actually do it. And you gotta remind yourself that perfection doesn't exist. It's just a made-up term. In this world, we are always in a constant process. We are always growing. And we shouldn't be scared that we might not, that people might not like it. In fact, I'd always tell people that if you have something on your mind, if you really believe on something, then you should share it. Because if you share that, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, if it's not very beautiful, if it's not for other people's standards. If it's your truth and you know that your truth can help other people, then it serves its purpose. Doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. Okay? So that's the second thing that's the second way to deal with imposter syndrome. Do not let perfection get in the way of progress. And I want to add on to that. Okay, so the third way to deal with imposter syndrome is practice humility. The reason why we feel that way is because we're too focused on our image, our egos. We would like to think that we are doing a great job. But in providing value to other people, if you're doing your purpose in life, then you would think less about yourself. And humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. And it can help you deal with imposter syndrome. Because if you think less about yourself, then you would think more about the people that you can help. You can think more about the people who might need your message, who might need your story, who might need the work that you're doing. So I want you to shift your focus. If you're feeling imposter syndrome, I want you to shift your focus from what can you gain to what value can you add to other people. Because I'm telling you, in any kind of work, the most fulfilling part of a process is not when you get paid. It's when you see that you've been able to help another person. It's when you're able to see that you've helped another person. Hey guys, before we proceed to the rest of the episode, I just want to share something that I discovered recently. I am a firm believer that we need to protect ourselves and our data online. We need to securely access different apps, different websites, different entertainment services as we browse across the internet. And a good thing that I learned about NordVPN. NordVPN makes sure that all of our data stays safe behind a wall of next generation encryption. It's the fastest VPN. We don't need to sacrifice speed for better security. It also offers uninterrupted streaming, and you can use it on multiple devices. We partnered with NordVPN through Podmetrics for you guys to also enjoy the same experience. They have an amazing promo right now that allows you to get 73% off of the 2-year plan plus 4 months free when you use our link in the description and code before checking out. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for a NordVPN account now. So stop focusing too much on yourself and start thinking about what your work can do for others. The fourth way to deal with imposter syndrome is to remind yourself that you're doing it not for the people who are better than you, or who already knows about what you're trying to teach or to sell or to say. You're doing it for the people who are just starting, who are needing that mentorship, that advice, that technical skill that you are going to teach, that you are going to provide. You are doing it for the people who are just starting. I would like to think of it, imagine you are level 25 in life. And then there are people who are way better than you, level 26, level 28, level 30. But there are people that are just starting from level 0 and they want to go to level 1. And they want to go to level 2. And they want to go to level 5 and 10 and 15 and 20. And those are the people that needs your message, that needs your work. So instead of focusing on the people who are not going to listen to you, you gotta focus on the people who will listen to you. I always say this: there are people that needs your message. If you don't have any, that means you're not finding them yet. There's so many people in the world. The chances of you not having someone that will listen to what you're saying is so small. Sobrang daming tao sa mundo, sobrang daming posibilidad na pwede mangyari sa mundo. Pero hindi mo siya magagawa if you just let the imposter syndrome beat you up. If you let the imposter syndrome be there and say na, okay, maybe you should not do it at all. Okay? Imposter syndrome is just another word for fear. We feel that we are scared because we might fail. We might not be in the level that we think we are. Well, let me tell you something. You are worth more than you think. Nasanay ka na kasi na laging no, laging rejection, laging failures and struggles ang pinagfo-focusan mo sa mundo. But let me tell you something. You are blessed. You are lucky that you are alive. You are privileged. You are a miracle. You are a miracle. The fact that you are here listening to this means that you have unlimited opportunities ahead of you. So do not let fear stop you from doing the things that you were set out to do. Which leads me to the fifth way to deal with imposter syndrome, and it's to understand that you have a purpose in this life. You're not here just to exist. You're here to live. You're not here just to survive. You're here to thrive. You're not here just to live on autopilot. You are here to design the life that you want to have. If you're watching this, and if you have internet connection, if you're watching this, that means you have internet connection. And in the internet, and if you search in the internet, you'll realize that we have more resources than the previous generations had. We have unlimited resources. We can connect to a lot of people just by clicking on a simple button. So understand that you are here right now and you are capable of doing the things that you have in your mind. You are capable of doing the things that you want to do. You do not deserve less. You should not, and you shouldn't settle for less. You were meant to dream. And that dream is meant to be fulfilled. So do not let imposter syndrome get in the way of you achieving your dreams. And you'll thank yourself later. Growth happens on the other side of fear. Success happens when you stop doing the things that the failures are doing. And the failures, they always give in to the imposter syndrome. So every single time imposter syndrome shows up, instead of you taking a step back and go and you just, chill back in your comfort zone, you lean into it. you lean into the fear. Because the fear is not here to limit you. The fear is here to tell you that you are on the right path. The fear is an indicator that there is growth awaiting on the other side. And you just need to push through. Always remember, the only way out is through. So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, go through it. Take action, even though you're doubting yourself. When you have doubts and fears, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything at all. Also, a huge indicator that you should do more because you're on the right path. So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, do not worry. We all feel it. And so that's all for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you love this episode, go ahead and share this on your social media accounts. Tag me at Alec Cuenca or at Small Talk Podcast. And also, if you want to join the weekly coaching session, for the month of August, we will be talking all about habits, one of my favorite topics of all time. So if you want to be a better person, be a better version of yourself, go ahead and look and join or register or learn more about it at bit.ly/The Better Me Project. So I am looking forward to meeting all of you guys there, and I hope that you go check it out. Again, this is Alec Cuenca. Thank you so much for listening. This is Small Talk, Small Conversations with huge impact. And I will talk to you guys next episode. Bye-bye.